Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money and whatever else you bring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of new. Oh, na 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 na. I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops, and I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. I've seen a lot of children.
We made it. How you doing, everybody? What's going on?
Hey, guys.
What's happening in AstroWorld
Hey.
land? How's it going? What was that? Hello?
What's up, fellas?
Man, it's another Friday night.
Another Friday night at AstroWorld, beginners Q&A, and I know most of you guys are not really beginners.
Man, I can barely hear Daniel.
You can
Yeah,
barely
we can hardly hear you, Dan.
Can't hear you. Got to turn your mic levels up, bro.
Okay, how's that?
There you go.
There you
There
go.
we go. There we go. All right. I was for some reason I was all the way down. I don't know why, but
You're still really quiet.
I could raise it up even more. There you go. How's that? Is that
That's
better?
better.
All
That's
right.
better. All
All
right.
right. I'll put everybody up. I think I lowered Scott down because of last week I thought I heard a snore, but I think I kind of he looks very Scott. I gotta say you look very vibrant today. You're smiling. You're sitting up. You got your you got your little green drink over there.
Yeah.
You
It's
look
amazing
good.
what 2 naps will do.
There you go. I know. You kind of need it. As we get older, we need the naps.
Yeah.
Shout
Exactly.
out to Mr. Bramwell. Thomas, good to have you on.
Tommy boy, what's going on, man? I got to throw out a shout out since he's on.
Hey, Sean's in. Sean's in the house.
Sean's in the house too.
Yeah.
Yep. There's Sean.
I got to get the chat on because I'm looking at the other screen. Here you go. So I got to throw a shout out to Tom and the guys over at Prima Luce, and I got to say, I got the adapter finally. It only took 2 days after shipping, so thank you, Tom, for expediting it. It's great. I'm going to put it on tonight. I'm excited to get this thing on. So
Nice.
look for an Arco video very soon. So that's going to happen.
How long you been waiting on that thing?
No, that adapter, no, that I wasn't waiting long. The Arco itself, I was waiting on for I heard rumors about it like 2 years ago. So, maybe a year and a half. But now it's the wait for the other side adapter from Precise Parts.
Gotcha.
So that being said, but thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Thanks for getting that out. Okay, so tonight, we got some good news today. Hendrik finally locked down a date, if I could get it right. It's Hendrik from Star Aid in March. And give me 1 second, I'll get that up real quick. And just so you know, once the website is finally launched, all these dates, because we're like piling on guests. I mean, I think we got like going all the way into April. We have, I think, about 7 or 8 guests that is going to be on over the next 9 weeks. So it's going to be a crazy time at AstroWorld, but a really good one, really exciting time. And don't miss out on any of the guest speakers.
This is why everybody you need. If you like this show, if you're enjoying this content and everything, tell your other fellow astrophotographers to join us, to subscribe, click the like button, because we've got some incredible guests coming on, and it's only going to get better as time goes on. So we're really trying to boost up our numbers, especially for Dan's birthday. We want to try to make that 1,000 that 1,000 subscriber.
If you guys don't hate me by now, you're gonna, because I've been posting my birthday for the past couple of days,
right?
And I was like, "Come on, you gotta subscribe. Let's go." So what do we got? So on the 9th, we got Dr. Sass from My Telescope. On the 25th, we got Rumen Bogdanovsky. I think that's pretty close.
Hey, Beatrice.
What's that?
No, Beatrice just hopped on too.
Who jumped on? Oh, Beatrice. Hey, what's up? And then we got he's from Indigo. So for those of you guys that are using Indigo, that's going to be a great show because I know nothing about Indigo. So it's going to be remember what we keep on saying, keep educating. Well, there you go. That's keep educating. March 9th, we have Roland Archer from Voyager Software. And then March 18th, finally, Hendrik from Star Aid is going to be on. And that's a really, really cool thing. We've been trying to nail him down because I got to say, Pete, you've been talking about this product for a while. It's not a very well-known product yet, but hopefully, from what you tell us, I mean, it's working pretty well. So, I mean, it'd be nice to get it out there to the masses.
Yep.
So yeah, so welcome everybody. Welcome Sean, Beatrice, Senthil, Tarek, Tom, Mark Ellis. Who else is on
Black
here?
Man on here too.
Who else?
I think I saw a Black Man on here too.
Black
Yeah,
Man's Black Man's there. All right. He's gonna be our new mascot. Black Man. And then we got Ron and Frank and Jim's Astro and so many people. Bob Santos, Frank Rossetti. Thank you for everybody for showing up. We got 21 people watching. Thank you for coming down. We got some, like I said, we got a lot of stuff going on. And we also have, don't forget, on the 11th, you still got time. You still got time. The $5 raffle. The $5 raffle is here. The planetary camera from Player One. This is a Neptune C2 camera. It's basically like a 290. It's for planetary, and it comes with an IR VIR cut. So 1.25 inch, $5. You can get up to 10 raffles. $50. You can get a $300 camera. There you go.
There you go.
So and you could do that at PayPal at AstroWorldWeb.com.
Chris was saying, "Don't bother entering. I'm winning that."
Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I'm not gonna say this until the night of the drawing when we're done selling chances. But there's a twist to the spinning of this wheel.
Oh,
and it's a good twist for the people that are buying chances. So
okay,
that's all I'm gonna say. So, and you guys are gonna thank somebody, and it's not me.
yeah.
So,
real quick, I want to say congrats to Sean at Visible Dark. I think this is he made his third year.
Yep, third year. Yep.
So congratulations, happy anniversary to you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? If you don't know who Sean is, and I'm just gonna throw a plug in for Sean because Sean's awesome. I love this guy. He runs a YouTube channel called Visible Dark. And for those of you that don't know what Visible Dark is, go check it out because he's got so many reviews. If you're a PixInsight user, he's got reviews for everything. He shows walkthroughs, he shows everything. He's really, really good at what he does. And I wouldn't know half the stuff that I know if it wasn't for him. So I got to be honest with you. And I forgot. You know what? I don't know a quarter of what he knows. So I'm still watching the same YouTube video that he has on the StarNet. Even though I've moved on to Star Exterminator, which he turned me on to too. So actually, Pete and Sean turned me on to that. So I'm very interested in that.
I still every once in a while I still go back with with me using the mono here, doing decon.
Yep.
Learning this, getting it more of a routine to get used to using decon when I'm using my mono camera for my luminance. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
got some good stuff.
The decon stuff. I mean, I'm not so, I don't know. You guys, maybe you guys, Eric, I think you use PixInsight the most out of,
I'm that mix between APP and, APP/Lightroom or PixInsight. So
okay, I know that Scott uses PixInsight a little bit.
Sure.
Pete, I don't think. Do you use PixInsight? You use Prism, right?
I'm using Prism and Maxim and APP and Photoshop.
Got it. Yeah. So
I just don't have the time for another learning curve. As much as I would love to do PixInsight, it's just another learning curve, and I've got my plate full.
Yeah, for sure.
I hear you, and that's why I don't want to learn anything else either. Because between the four of us, I think Eric and I probably have the most experience with PixInsight at this point. And deconvolution has always been the bane of people's existence. I mean, it's just been it's just horrible sometimes. But once you get it down, and I get and to Eric's point, Sean has an awesome video on decon. He makes it so easy. He makes it so easy. Oh yeah, you do this, you do that, you do that. You're done. 7.5 minutes, you're finished.
Yeah.
Right. But no, sometimes I spend hours on decon because I just want to get it right. But that's the way I am. I'm nuts. I'm out of my mind. But
The word you're looking for is anal.
PG-13, please. Thank you so much. But let me tell you, I'm not such a fan of the easy decon and the easy stuff. What is that?
Yeah.
Dark Archon stuff?
Yeah, Dark Archon.
I'm not a huge fan, although his speed up of StarNet was awesome for when we needed it. To use the GPU of your video card to speed up the process.
Okay.
And it's I mean, literally my old computer would take me to do StarNet like 40 minutes if it was a dense star field.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Dark Archon kind of with the CUDA and using the NVIDIA card, because you could all use NVIDIA chips, they get lowered it down to about 5 minutes.
Wow.
And it's just now it takes no time because I don't use it anymore. But anyway,
now it takes no time because I don't use it anymore.
I use Star Exterminator, and it's like that.
Now, Star Exterminator, that's a Photoshop add-in, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
And it's also
it's like Radiant Exterminator, right?
Yeah, it's a standalone too. It's made by the same person,
okay.
And there is a standalone part of it, and it works good. I like it. What is it, like $60 or something like that? I think it was.
Okay,
but it's worth it.
There's also another plugin that I use, and Eric, this might be something for you since you do a little bit of Photoshop, but Astra Image. Astra Image has got a very good plugins. They've got like Decon and you name it. They've got everything that you could use, but it's called Astra Image. And you'll download, and you can use it standalone or within Photoshop.
Okay, thanks. I have to look that one up.
Beatrice had a thing of sometimes I get good results with decon, but often they're bad. So, has anyone used decon besides me and Eric? I mean,
in Astra Image, I use it.
What's that?
In Astra Image, I use their decon algorithm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the key is,
go ahead.
You just want to use it in very small micro increments, and you may have to do it over and over and over and over. That's the lag time or the lead time that takes so long.
Right.
But when people do, they get a little bit antsy, so they just move that slider over. It's like your artifacts now,
Right.
Yeah, and one of the things that I see quite a bit when people are doing decon, and it could just be me, but what I see the most is they're not making proper either local D-ring support images, or proper PSF, point spread functions. So if you don't make and not even that the proper masks to get everything working right. Now, also, especially with PixInsight, you want to take a look and see about your global darks and your global brights. And if you got to play with those two sliders a little bit, because you're going to either see that your stars are getting crushed, or you're going to see like some really psychedelic, wormy kind of craziness. And so you want to kind of play with that. And like Pete said, very subtle movements. You don't want to move all the way to the side. You don't even want to move like half a millimeter. You want to move almost very, very subtle. But you definitely want to try that, especially with decon. Make sure you got the proper masks and support files. But I like decon.
Yeah. Let's remind me. Yeah. Get this stuff out of my way.
Tom Digon sent him his final on his Ghost of Cassiopeia, the one we showed the other night.
Oh, nice. Okay. I kind of like that.
I like the black and white. It looks like
black and white. I really liked it.
And it's not black and white anymore.
Okay.
But it's still awesome. I still like it. I'm going to share it. Takes a little time. I'm going to make it a little bigger. And share screen 2. Tom, you do good work. I got to tell you, this is some good stuff. So here we go. Loading. Here we go.
Oh, my gosh.
That's like the one we saw last week.
That,
Well,
yeah, that color.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the same picture from Wednesday, from the same shooter, and this is with obviously more data and post processed. So
And in
awesome,
color.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And Tom, can you give me your specs again as far as your camera and your telescope?
Here you go. Come on, right here. So
Okay,
it's
great,
the
great.
it's a C11 Edge,
No wonder.
C11 Edge with a
Really
2600 on an EQ6R with the 3 nanometer antennas.
Oh wow, this is really nice. And that's with the reducer, right? With the 0.7? Yeah, yeah. 0.7. Yep, I see it.
Yep,
It was
it's a
0.7.
yep.
Yep. Oh yeah, I really like this.
Yep, I like the blue into the red.
Yes.
I do like that.
I tell you, man, it looks like the Reaper. It really, really does. It looks like the freaking Reaper.
You gonna start playing Blue Oyster Cult for me, or?
Oh man.
But nice job, Tom. Very nice.
Yeah,
You
nice
did a
job.
good job.
Nice
Thank you.
job.
Thank you for your submission. It gives us something to talk about at least. So
Send that off for an iPod. Just give it a shot.
yeah, or even an AA pod.
That's what I mean. Or an AA pod.
Yeah.
Go for it. Just go ahead and submit it.
Why not? So Tom just sent that in. So thank you, Tom. There we go.
Very nice.
Oh wow! Yeah, I put out it. So somebody apparently saw my post about the more Barlow post, and Christopher just put more cowbell on there. So, but yeah. So I know it's only been 2 days, and usually Friday is a lot more of a beginner's night. We like to keep it. But let's talk. I mean, we've all been going through really bad weather.
Yes.
Like really horrible clouds, and it's just been disgusting out. It's been horrible. I mean, I could count on maybe 2 hands the amount of clear nights that I've had since probably Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess my question to everybody would be, well, when it's cloudy, what do we do? Or what can we do to help forward?
Yeah.
That would be PlayStation or D&D.
That would be like everybody except for Pete. I don't know if he plays D&D, but if not, we're gonna sucker him in. But
no, yeah. But one thing for sure is practicing. Taking some old data, reworking old data. Trying new things with that data, things you may have never tried before, or just sprucing up your skills, your post-processing skills, going through going through that again, updating your dark library, perhaps, of course, could be one of those. If you have that, if you have kind of an older dark library, say maybe more than 4 to 6 months old, or a little bit, something like that. Depends on, how you handle your dark library. You may want to take some time and make another one,
Yep.
Stuff like that.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So why would we make
I like Black Man's answer too.
I just saw that.
I love that.
Astro window shopping.
For sure.
So for the new people out there, well, let's talk about what is a dark library and why do we need to keep it updated.
Okay.
So who wants to take what is a dark library?
Well, the first thing with a dark library is that it's a pretty significant time commitment. The other calibration frames are relatively fast in comparison. The dark library takes a commitment of time. It can take a long time.
Right. Absolutely. And with a dark library, basically, and with a dark frame, okay, it's the most common of your calibration frames, okay, and it's canceling out all of the issues that you can have with your actual light frame. All right. So and you always when you do a light frame, you are have it at a certain setting. Maybe at a certain, if you're using a DSLR, it's at a certain ISO speed. If it's a dedicated astro camera, it's a certain gain and offset, stuff like that, and maybe in a certain temperature. Maybe you're cooling it at a certain temperature. So what you're doing is with a dark library is that when it's cloudy like it is right now, or you're having bad weather, what you can do is that you can bring that camera in and put it into an enclosed area. For example, I put mine when I'm doing a dark library, I cover it up, I put the cap on it and everything. I hook it up to my ASI Air and I stick it in my beer fridge.
Yeah.
I stick it in my beer fridge. And so I can cool it down back to that ambient temperature, below ambient temperature that I'm doing my light, that I did my lights at, or that I, do my lights at. I usually do my lights at minus 10 degrees Celsius or below ambient. So I'll set that up and I will run an entire suite of dark frames. And I usually do 30 myself of different exposure times. Okay, because you never know, you're going to be doing sometimes 60 seconds, sometimes 300 seconds, sometimes 600 seconds, sometimes even longer. So I just start doing 30 of each of those different exposure times, and I save them. So that way, when I'm ready to do my post processing, that's one less thing that I need to do after my imaging session. Because usually when I first got started, after my imaging session, I'll put the cap on outside, and then I would run my darks and do darks right after my imaging session. Well, now if you have a dark library, you don't have to worry about that piece. Now all you need to do is, and I also do this many times with if you have a dedicated CMOS camera with my dark flats as well. I'll take a whole slew of, say, 2 second, 5 second, 10 second, what have you, of dark flats, because they're going to be the same temperature usually, or not, but I'll keep them at the same temperature, same gain, and I have that done too. So that way I don't have to worry about doing that piece after I do my flat. So all I have to do is, when I'm done with my imaging session, is I will take my flat calibration frames, and then I already have that dark flat library and that dark library, and I can begin my post-processing work.
Yeah, I actually have a little bit of a different, a little different. It's not, if you're super, super, super lazy, and I'm more of the way Eric does his dark. So I do the same thing that Eric does. So I don't want to say that this is what I do, because it's not. But if you're very, very lazy and you really want to go kind of hang out in the clouds because you think it's cool or whatever, and you just think that cloud time is very, very important to you, you can actually take the longest dark that you could take. Like, let's say you want to take a 20-minute dark. You can take one set of 20-minute darks.
You sure can.
And then you can do what's called optimizing your darks. And you could use that 20-minute darks, master dark, for any exposure less 20 minutes or less.
Now, can you explain to everybody what it means to optimize?
Yeah, so optimize, basically what you're doing is you're actually using a mathematical equation, because it knows how much noise that you made in 20 minutes, right? Because you took the frame, you made your master, so it knows your noise signal in that frame. So it can work backwards from there. Basically what it's doing, this is very layman's. I know Pete has a much better explanation than I'm going to give you. But basically what it does is, okay, you know what? I'm taking 600-second darks, but I'm only taking 300 seconds lights. Well, I know how much noise is in a 600-second dark. I'm going to minus that signal by half, because I'm taking half a light. I'm taking 300 seconds instead of 600. So I'm going to minus that amount of dark current from your 300-second lights, if that makes any sense. So Pete, maybe you want to give a little bit more of a scientific explanation to this.
No, that's pretty good in layman's terms, because it can get really in depth here.
It can get very crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, for beginners, you just want to kind of keep it where they can understand it. So I think the best definition is what you gave right there. But the good thing about these cameras now, I mean, case in point, if I could like what I've got is I've got a Hutech modified DSLR. My read noise is down to less than literally. I mean, it's just so low that I don't even take darks.
Okay.
So the key that you might want to look at is really get familiar with your cameras, because right now there are some good cameras out there that have such low read noise that there's a good possibility you may be able to get away from not even taking darks. But once again, try it first. Take your lights, take your flats, and bias frames, yeah. Because once again, if you take darks, you can have bias frames in your darks. So that's going to be like 6 to 1 and a half, a dozen the other. But as I said, the cameras now are getting so good that the read noise is so freaking low now that I really think that maybe in the next couple of years, you won't really need to take darks because the read noise is so low.
Won't that be amazing to get, this technology, how it's moving, to get to this point?
Yeah.
And to get to that point, where the read noise can get so low that, to your point, you may not need to worry about taking certain types of, calibration frames like darks. All you really need to take your flats to help deal with the dust motes or what have you, and that's it.
Yeah, and as far as with the flats, I know, Eric, you said that you take a bunch of different, like a dark flat library or flat dark, depending on who you're talking to. Yeah, so I have another theory on that as well. Now, if you have a controllable light panel, a dimming controlled USB light panel, like a Spica flat or something like that, where you could control the brightness via, leave it outside, set it up, and whatever. I would tell you to sit there and say, okay, you know what? Take 3 second flat darks. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tell the computer to say, I just want 3 second flats, adjust the brightness to make it 3 seconds.
Interesting.
So I don't have to take a whole library of flat darks of different exposure times, or I don't have to sit there and wait and see, what exposure time it is. Because sometimes if you're doing like a flat wizard from either Sequence Generator Pro or whatever, you may come up with different exposure times for every single filter and on the same night.
A quick thing that I do, Dan, is like a quick rule of thumb, because flats really of all the frames, the flat frames are the most tricky.
Yeah.
So typically, like with what you got, if you've got like a panel, like Elitech, Optech, the Elitech, or in that case, a Spica flat, what I recommend to everybody is that what you do is they say you look at the histogram and move it over 2/3. Yeah, that's okay. But if you really want to do it, what's the full well capacity of your camera?
Mm-hmm.
You want a medium ADU value for your flats that are about between 50 and 70%. So let's say your full well capacity is 56,000. What's 50% of 56,000? And what's 70%? So that's the ADU value. So what you do then is you pull that up on your software package. You've got your flat frame in front, and then you mouse over it, and at the very bottom, it'll tell you what your ADU value is. Once you get it that 50 to 70%, that's how many seconds you want to keep it.
Nice.
So once again, take a look at what your full well capacity is on your camera.
Okay.
The rule of thumb is you want to shoot your flats to have a mean ADU value between 50 and 70%.
Yep.
I got a question on
I'm just gonna hop on. I'm just gonna take a look at mine. Okay, so the 294 the full well is 66,000 electron.
So 50% is going to be what? 32,000, 30,000.
Like that.
So that's
it's gonna be 33.
Yep. So say 33 and 40,000 ADU is what you're looking for.
Yep.
Wow.
And the Nina, what you could do is you could actually put that range in there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And you could give it like an offset. So, okay, well, you could even narrow that down even more. You could say, I want it between 32 and 35,000 and plus or minus 3%.
Yep.
And so it'll do it and it'll start taking it. But that kind of, when you do that as well, you may still get different, you know what you do when you do that, and you do that the way Pete said, make sure that your seconds, if you want to do what I do, and you to make sure that second time is a set time, whether that be 5 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever. Make it to be a set time and let it adjust the brightness of your panel to reach that criteria of ADU, like Pete said. And then all you got to do, if it turns out to be 5 seconds, because you got narrowband, maybe you're doing a little bit longer, whatever. If you got 5-second flats, what I normally do is I do 6-second flats for my narrow bands, and I do like 3-second flats for my broads. And then so I got a 3-second dark flat. Well, I do bias, but I got a 3-second and 6-second dark flat if I was to do dark flats. You know what I mean? So I don't have to worry about a 1, a 2.4, a 3.3, a 4.8, or what, all you're gonna have some crazy biases, or I'm sorry, the dark flats.
Yeah.
But I'm still stuck in CCD mode.
I know.
And I'm gonna continue. I mean, I got an awesome CCD camera here. I'm gonna continue to use it till it dies, and that's where I'm gonna be. I'll be taking biases for forever.
Yeah, it's funny, Dan, because just like you've got the 8300, right? That's your CCD.
Well, no, my CCD is for sale right now. My STF 8300 is for sale right now. I purchased from a really good friend of mine the QHY 16200.
Okay.
So I purchased that from Ron Breacher, believe it or not, from Masters of Pix Insight. He was upgrading, and he asked me if I wanted to buy his camera. I said sure, and he sold it to me with a full 2-inch set of filters, all Optolongs.
Yep.
And I love it. The only thing that I could say about this CCD camera in general is the download speeds. It's dreadfully slow. I think it's anywhere from 11 to 17 second download speeds.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could make a latte.
Hey, Mark is asking, hold one sec. Where do you get the numbers from? Where do you get the numbers for the ADU?
Okay. So what you do, Mark, is your full well capacity of your camera. It'll be a set electrons, right? So let's say it's 60,000. You want to shoot your values for your flats between 50 and 70% of what the full well capacity is. So when you take your first flat, you're going to pull it up in your program and you're going to mouse over it. And at the bottom, it will tell you what your mean value is. So let's say you do a 2-second flat, but your value is, say, 28,000. Well, now you just got to increase it just a little bit, like half a second, because now you're going to be between 30 and 40,000. So now you know that you want to shoot your flats at 2.5 seconds if you're using a flat panel screen. So just look at the full well capacity of your camera and shoot your flats between 50 and 70% of the full well capacity. That's your ADU values.
Be right back, guys. I've got a Titan issue here.
Yeah, no problem. But I mean, a lot of people going back and forth about different types of some people even say like a little bit closer to 50%. Some people say a little closer to 70%. But what you're really going to have to do, and you're not going to be able to know until you apply your flat to your light and see what you get. And that's the biggest thing. Every image train is different. So just make sure that you sit there and say, okay, you know what? Maybe you could go down as far as 40% on your setup and say, okay, you know what? It works for me. It gets rid of all my dust modes. I don't think it's gonna, but it might just happen. 50%, 60%, somewhere around there. It's you'll be okay, and just apply, run them through Pix Insight, run it through APP, see what you look at, and it's just like the same thing when we talk about guiding. You know what? Who cares about what your number is if you got round stars? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you get 0.3. You're supposed to have 0.3. You got a $15,000 amount. What are you talking about? Okay, but what? You got a $15,000 amount? Yeah. Why do your stars look like freaking eggs? So you got to really look at the image. You got to look at how your rig is running, because everything is different.
Yep.
Can someone explain some things about min, max, mean, and average values on a histogram? How should I read it?
Yeah, the histogram is basically just an analog, if you will, representation of the color spectrum of your sensor. Everything to the left is going to be black, everything to the right is going to be white, and everything in between is color.
Okay, so what about min, max, mean, and average?
Well, your minimum is where
Your black.
minimum and maximum, right? Your what you want to try to avoid with your histogram is clipping. You know, where you're too far to the right, too far to the left. You're either not gathering data or you're gathering too much. You know, and going over. Um, you know, the histogram is, I tell landscape photographers, aspiring landscape photographers all the time, and portrait photographers, I say, you know, you're that little tiny screen on the back of your camera is great for composition and such, but if you're looking for true color, don't trust that thing. You know, you always look at your histogram, you know, to determine where your exposure values are. You know, minimum and maximum. I mean, yeah. I mean, you want to avoid, you know, not getting enough information or getting too much. Did I miss something?
No, I think you're good. Basically, you know, you're gonna look at your mean or median a lot more than anything else. Hopefully, you're not too far, or like the way Scott said, not too far in the blacks, not blown out in the whites. So you want to know something in the middle, and that's where you're going to get your ADUs for your full well capacity. So you're going to look at that, and you're going to see, okay, you know what? If you got a 56,000 full well capacity, then you want to shoot somewhere at 56. So 128 to 33,000, something like that, is where you want to be.
See, let's kind of look at this because this really comes into play with a lot of different factors. In that, when we look at bit depth, you've got 2 to the power of 12, 2 to the power of 14, and 2 to the power of 16. In essence, what that's trying to tell you is the gradient between your darks to your light. 2 to the power of 12, you can definitely see that gradient. But when you get to 2 to the power of 16, it's a much smoother gradient, a much smoother transition. It's more pleasing to the eyes. So now when you take your image and you look at it on screen, and because it's in a digital format and you get your mouse, you can mouse over it. And once again, at the bottom, you'll see your minimum value, meaning that that's the minimum pixel value that you're going to see. You'll see a maximum pixel value. You're going to see a medium pixel value and a mean pixel value. So what the mean is it's the difference between, it's the lowest pixel value and the highest pixel value divided by 2 is giving you your mean value. What medium is let's say you've got a pixel value of 100. You got another one of 200, 300, 500, 1700. Well, it's going to be right in the middle at around about 1,000. That's what medium is. But as Dan said, you want to look at the medium because that's the overall image across the X and the Y axis. So it kind of comes back to the cameras. When we started talking about what defines a good camera, you want to look at the higher bit depth, something at 2 to the power of 16, because now you're going to have a much greater full well capacity. That means you can keep the exposure open longer and you're not going to saturate out the stars.
Gideon was asking, what about what would be the difference between a 65K full well 12-bit camera versus a 16-bit camera? So what would I be shooting for?
Well, once again, it's the tonal gradients, the tonal gradients between, say, light to dark. Because once again, it's kind of like, let's compare it to, say, a TIFF and a JPEG, right?
Right.
How many times do you try to, you've saved something in a JPEG and then you try to kind of blow it up and you can see that posterization. It's the same similar situation that if you've got a 16-bit camera, the tonal gradients are going to be a much smoother gradient from your darks to your lights.
So I guess what I'm hearing is, just so I'm making it clear for our viewers, is what I'm hearing is that if you have a 65,000 or 56,000 full well or whatever it is, you're still shooting for that 50 to 70 no matter what. Exactly. However, the problem is not really a problem, but when you got a higher max bit rate camera like a 16-bit, 12-bit, 14-bit, I'm going to try and do this as kind of laid back as I can. So to what Pete was saying, there is more of a dramatic shift from white to black. Maybe you only got 12,000 different colors in between. Okay. From 16-bit, that same type of color space that you have now has 65,000 colors in there. So from white to black, you got a bunch of different shades of gray in there, tons and thousands and thousands and thousands. You got all these tons. So what Pete was trying to say was that gray, that dramatic thing where you see it at a 12-bit when you only have whatever. I'm not sure what the 12-bit color rate is. I think it's, I don't even know. Well, I'd say it's about 12,000. But from 12 to 65,000, you're going to see so much more different and a nice, easy transition to, it's not going to be so dramatic.
Yep. That's why, as you said, we look at our consumer grade cameras that are the $5,000 cameras. And you see we got full well capacities of like 56,000 to 64,000. Have you ever looked at the specs on the $35,000 to $50,000 cameras?
No.
Once again, you're talking full well capacities of 100,000 plus.
Wow.
You're looking at quantum efficiencies that are up at 90%. So that's the thing about it is that they use those for scientific research. So for them, they have to have more accuracy because they're looking for what's really important. And typically they'll use that for like microscope, electronic microscope work. For us, we're kind of the benefit of being able to say, hey, we got consumer grade chips. And then this brings up another point. People say, what's the difference between a grade 1 and a grade 2 chip? You never spend the extra money on a grade 1 chip because believe me, over a year, that chip's going to degrade to grade 2. So,
Yep.
as much as they try to say, oh yeah, you can get a grade 1 for an extra $2,500 or $3,000. Don't waste your money because it's going to degrade to a grade 2 anyway.
I misunderstood. Well, there's a couple of questions coming across. The first thing about the question about the 12-bit, I guess I misread it. Gideon is saying, and I'll show it on the stream. Here you go. So I love this. No, Dan, you misunderstand. The ASI Air, my 12-bit camera says my max ADU is 65K, but the max ADU on a 12-bit is 4096.
The ADU is
I think that's color spacing. I don't think that's ADU.
No, because once again, it's ADC. It's like 16-bit will be as analog digital converter.
Right.
ADU is the pixel.
It's the brightness. Yeah.
The brightness.
So that's a little different. I think we're mixing a couple different things in here.
Yeah. Typically, you won't get a 12-bit camera that's going to be at 65K. If it is, wow,
yeah.
I've never seen a 12-bit camera with 65,000.
Eric, I think you muted. I guess the next question was from Dennis. Does sensor? I know what you guys are going to say. I'm going to say something completely different, but I'm just going to be devil's advocate here. Does sensor temperature matter at all for flats?
I don't think so.
For flats?
For flats.
Not necessarily. I don't think not necessarily.
No. Darks, yes. Not
yeah,
flats.
darks for sure. Darks for sure, because you want to match those darks with your lights. Whatever temperature is your light is, you want to match that with your dark. But I mean, your flats, you're only taking maybe up between 2 to 5 seconds sometimes. So temperature, I don't think will really matter.
No.
I see.
What do you think? Dan's smirking like, I don't know.
I know what he's thinking.
So I would say, depending on the length of your flats, it can matter. That's the first thing. The second thing is, just as a best bet for me, I like to keep everything the same. I'm kind of crazy like that. Like I said, I'm to Scott's words, I'm very anal, but I like everything the same. And I think somewhere along the way, and I could be totally wrong about this. It could be my superstition. It could just be me being crazy, whatever. That's fine. But I like the temperatures all the same because somewhere, some way, maybe a cold pixel is going to pop up in there. Maybe a cold pixel is going to pop up in there, and then I'll see it, and it'll land right on a star like Rigel, and it'll just be right in the middle of that star, and it'll just annoy me. So I like the fact that when my flats are calibrated with my bias, which covers the read noise, everything will be canceled out. And once I do the division in my flats, everything will be all the same. Now, from a rule of thumb, there are many, many people that have written books and done videos and stuff that flat temperature doesn't matter. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, maybe it doesn't. But I like to have everything the same. So I just like make everything -10, and that's it.
So basically, you want to be able to not have any outside pending variables that
Correct.
could cause an issue, and that makes sense. You got a point there, Dan, because you can definitely look at it from that perspective. It's maybe getting a little bit too extreme in terms of OCD, but believe me, there's a lot of OCD people in this hobby.
And I guess you and LaDonna know each other pretty well because she just said a little bit OCD. So, it really depends on the person. I mean, listen, if you can get away with it, whatever, do your flats. Don't worry about the temperature. Again, remember, it goes back to what we said at the beginning of the show.
Yep.
Every image train is different.
But as you said, you know what, Dan? Think about all the variables that you're controlling, right? You've got control of what the camera is in terms of full well capacity, what the quantum efficiencies are, what the temperature is. You're right. By keeping everything at a constant, you're eliminating that potential for a variable. So that's the key, is to be able to have that kind of control.
Now, if I could only get data to control it,
right?
I would be a real happier person. I'm on the show now. I'm a happy guy. I'm laid back. But I'm telling you, I'm really I'm frustrated. Like you have no idea. I mean, it's pretty bad because
Wednesday night you were frustrated with that ASI Air Pro. That's for sure.
You know what? In all fairness, yeah, I was frustrated with that, but I was more frustrated with myself. It was all about first time new user stuff, and we all go through that. The ASI Air Plus Pro, even the regular one, they are marvels for what they do. And for $300 or less, I mean, you really can't. Yep. If you're in that, we say it all the time. If you're in that ZWO ecosystem,
yep,
that there is nothing better because it's kind of all works together.
Yep.
And you know what? It works fine. I mean, some people swear by the ZWO EAF, and some people want to throw it through a window. But I mean, it all depends. Scott's like, yeah, I want to throw it through a window. But
Cool.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. For my wide field stuff, it worked pretty good.
Oh yeah, I mean those box focusers are great for a smaller setup, but man, when I tried to put it on that 14, forget about it.
Yeah. Wow.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
it was a nightmare.
And in all fairness, Scott, I told you from the beginning.
I know.
I told you, don't do it, man. Don't do it.
I know, and that's why I sold them, and
yep.
I went right with what Pete suggested, which was, full on feather touch, baby, and I never looked back.
Yeah, it just depends.
Everything has its points where it excels. If you
Absolutely.
put it in its position where it's not going to excel, it's going to set up for failure. So you really want to kind of look at getting the right component parts for what you're trying to achieve.
You ain't
I was going to say, Tom's got an 11 and he has an EAF. But...
Newsflash. We just booked Charles Bracken. This is live. This is breaking news for AstroWorld. We just booked Charles Bracken for April 13th.
Oh, that's good.
April 13th. And he's planning on being at NEAF on the 6th. So
you know what? I'm actually going to bring that up to you guys. I know, Dan, you're going to be there.
Yeah, I don't have a choice. I'm gonna be sweating like a maniac. I'll be like,
I would like to know whoever else within the audience is thinking about maybe going to NEAF. Pete, are you thinking about going to NEAF or anything?
Well, we were just talking about that today because Farrah was mentioning that Orion and Skywatcher were talking about not going, and I'm thinking, Farrah, if PlaneWave decides not to go, I mean, we're kind of like 6 of one and a half a dozen the other. If a lot of the manufacturers don't go, what would be the sense of us going? So I'm keeping our fingers crossed that this Omicron's not going to put a kibosh to it again like last year. So
right.
There's a good chance that if it does go and none of the OEMs back out, then definitely I'll be there. It's just going to be myself representing Woodland Hills Camera and Telescope.
Okay.
But as I said, let's keep our fingers crossed and let's see if maybe it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got my fingers crossed too. I'd like to have a chance to go, So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I already told my wife, I'd like to do this. So
Yeah.
It's definitely an experience if you haven't been to NEAF. It's really, really a cool experience. Now, I would tell you this, and this is still going on. I got it from the horse's mouth as of last Friday. So things can change, like Pete said, with Delta, Omicron, Zeta, Theta, whatever. NEAC is still on, and for those of you that don't know what NEAC is. NEAC is the Northeast Astro Imaging Conference. And basically anybody who's anybody in the Northeast, Canada, some people fly in from all over the world for this, get together for 2 days. There's some workshops. They do all about astro imaging, astrophotography, and it's all 2 days based on that, filled with speakers, raffles, everything. Friday, the vendors start to show up, so the speakers kind of get a little crazy because there's a lot of stuff banging around. But then Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday is the regular NEAF. So they do NEAC Thursday, Friday, NEAF Saturday, Sunday. But as far as I know, everything's still on, and we're already in just about February, and they haven't canceled. Last year they canceled in like Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it's real. Move NEAF to Phoenix. Shut up, Mark. What's up? I'm going to say just shut up, Meg.
Yeah, I always think that what they should do is they should just move it geographically. 1 year in the Northeast, and then the next year in the Midwest, and then the third year on the Pacific Coast, and then kind of start it again. Because this way it gets people the chance who are geographically.
Well, then you got to say the same thing for what is that? The one in the AIC in San Jose, and
I agree, but I'm thinking about right now with NEAF. I mean, this thing about traveling on planes. I mean, it's. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I keep my fingers crossed that NEAF is going to happen, but I mean, how many people are going to show up, especially with the travel and the restrictions?
Mm-hmm.
It's really going to put a damper on it. But
I think that's one of the reasons why I think they're going hybrid with this, where they're going to be doing part virtual, part live, and they're going to be doing a lot of live events on the floor if that's the case. So, and streaming that live. So it's going to be interesting.
I mean, the one thing I've kind of missed is who's the guy that was with Sky and Telescope? Dennis Chakit. Dennis Chakit. What's his last name?
I can't pronounce it. Yeah, no, I butcher everybody. You asking me? I am the butcher of last names. Don't be asking me how to pronounce anybody's last name.
It's always great to see his videos after the NEAF because you can always see him going around and asking questions, and he kind of gives you the Reader's Digest of what NEAF was. So.
Yep. Hey, listen.
Chico, there it is.
Yeah, the Chico. Yes. Okay. But everyone's talking about the EAF, and the EAF is cool. It works great. It's just got a lot of slop in it. If you're moving heavy objects, like 14-inch mirrors, 11-inch mirrors.
Yeah. It's not the motor itself. It's
motor's fine.
Between the motor and the focuser. That's the problem. It's that flexible coupler thing that they've got. That's why when I went to the Feather Touch, it's clutch driven, and it's a quarter turn on that Feather Touch to back that clutch off, and then you can manually focus that mirror if you need to, and then you just turn it a quarter inch and it's re-engaged, and it's a solid engagement. There's very little backlash in it.
Yeah, even with the Moonlights also, that they're clutch driven as well. That's what I have on my 80.
Yeah. Even Optech, I mean, they're all clutch driven. So that's the advantage that they have.
Yep.
Hey, you know what?
The disadvantage is that they're expensive.
Yeah. But remember, buy once, cry once.
Yep.
That's the motto. That's the motto you want to live by. You don't want to have to cry multiple times, believe me.
Yeah, I think by the time I was all said and done with the Feather Touch focuser, I think it was right around $1,100, something like that, for the whole thing, everything.
Yep.
Hey, that's, you know what I was thinking too, Dan, is what you might want to do with all of our upcoming guests. You might want to send them an invite, say to next Friday's show, and just let them have, pick and choose if they want to just listen in and see what's going on, because at least they'll get a chance to see what's going on. But it's good news to hear Charles Bracken.
Yeah,
Always
he
get
literally
guests.
he just emailed me at
That is
8:51
awesome.
Eastern, so 10 minutes ago.
He's
So-
great. People are going to enjoy listening to what he has to say on what he's done.
Let's see if there's anything else in the inbox. Nothing else in the inbox. We're waiting for some. Pete and I have a couple of feelers out there for guests, and I know very soon. It's just a matter of getting in touch with them again. I spoke to him once already. We're gonna have Scott Roberts on again. He's a funny guy. He always has some good stories to tell too. So.
Well, you guys, I'm actually working on, while we're doing this, and we were talking about EAF. I've been having some trouble, with getting that critical focus.
Yep.
Trying to get my EAF to get those steps into the critical focus zone. So right now I'm doing a lot of trial and error, with the autofocus and looking at, different steps because it's different doing the autofocus versus doing the manual fine and coarse steps, that I have. So it's a little different. It's a different setup as far as entering in. You have to enter in a certain number of steps. I think the minimum is 20, and I think the default is 30 steps. So I got some suggestions to try, like 60, 50, something like that. So right now I'm working at 50, and just trying to see how my I want to see how my V curve, how that curve ends up looking. So it's always, something, we're always learning.
Always learning. What is that?
I've got one for you, Eric.
Okay.
These Officina Stellaris all came with a Finger Lakes Instruments Atlas focuser. So picture this. There's 105,000 steps, and the travel is 82.5 millimeters.
Okay.
Okay.
So now do the calculations and determine how much is each step.
So
you're looking at 0.084 microns per step.
Wow.
I mean, you talk about critical focus.
that's almost like an Asado.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the thing about what I know what Eric's going through, because you've got a very fast vocal ratio. So you've got to have your V curve right within that critical focus zone. So you have some fun figuring that out.
Because I'm trying to figure this out. Because right now with my Edge 8, I'm shooting at f7. So and then when I have an EAF on all of my telescopes, I have it on the Rasa, the Edge, and now my little Rokinon setup that I have, and just trying to find those, that critical focus. It's really important, especially when you're doing narrowband.
Yeah.
And you're hopping between different filters. It's like 1 minute I'm doing great in, say, oxygen. But if I'm moving either into sulfur or hydrogen, then it gets the focus is so soft, right? It gets nerve-wracking. I mean, you don't get the donut necessarily, you don't get an airy disc, but it's still so soft that that this could have done a better job. You could have gotten it tighter.
Yeah, and you're talking about a filter slider, right? You're not talking about a filter
wheel. I have a filter wheel.
Yeah, because you can definitely you'll be working on your offsets, your filter offsets.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you can't do offsets or anything like that with the ASI Air.
No. Oh, not yet. That's right.
Not yet.
They don't have that capability yet.
Never yet.
That's why you need an Eagle.
So let me ask you, so let me ask you about these AIA or ASI.
ASI Air, yes.
So let's say the recent one is the Pro version.
Yes.
Plus.
So when they come out,
Plus.
So when they come out, will they be able to upgrade the software, or do you have to buy a brand new one?
No. So basically, they update the software, and if there's certain models can do certain things, such as the Plus now has the wireless, has the new wireless feature with the wireless antenna, but it's all the same software. It's just certain things, certain models have certain limitations.
Uh-huh.
So you're using this, so it's the same firmware, the same software on the computers, no matter what brand it, no matter what model it is, the old one, the Pro or the Plus, but it's just whatever one you have that limitation in the software where you get more features or not as many features.
So what you need to do then is you need to reach out to them to talk about putting in the algorithms to determine the filter offsets.
I mean, people have talked about this stuff. We have talked about it. We talked about it, shot in questions and all of that.
Yeah, we were also talking about the last upgrade that we just happened a couple of days ago.
Yeah, the last firmware updates. And
wow, was I having problems?
Oh, that's right. You were saying is that this firmware has just caused all kinds of issues.
Yeah, so it's caused so many problems.
I called up Simon. Now, for those of you guys who don't know Simon is a beta tester and one of the team players at ZWO, and he's a beta tester. He does a whole bunch of stuff. If you look at if you bought your Plus and you get the little red card, his name's on one of the names on those tester cards. But I called him up and I was like, he lives in New Zealand. So I called him up. I was like, Simon, what is with this piece of garbage? He's like, what? What are you talking about? I said, you know that screen where you pick a target and has the telescope controls that swipes in and that slides in and out? Yeah, it's gone. I was like, what? What do you mean? I said, it was there.
It was there, and now it's gone.
And now it's gone. He's like, well, do you see 3 arrows that are pointing to the left? I said, no, it's not there. I mean, there's no way to drag it out. And sure enough, I said that we played around with it for like an hour, trying to mess around with it, going into the thing, thinking the camera was, and every once in a while, with the 294 that was connected to it, Eric, maybe you can shine some light on this, but every once in a while, it'll say, your camera doesn't seem like it's connected. Please reconnect your camera manually. Every once in a while. And the camera's there, the cooler's going, the lights are on, everything's good. And then all of a sudden, I go into it and I turn it off and turn it back on. It's fine. but in order to get the slewing box back, I actually had to reboot the whole thing. I had to go into the Wi-Fi menu and then go to the bottom and restart the device and do it all over again.
That would make me nuts.
That kind of sucks when you're sitting there and you're like, I'm in the middle of a freaking routine here, and now I got, I can't, don't get me wrong. If you're in the middle of a routine, you're probably not slewing the scope anyway. But the whole thing, it's just not there. It should be there,
right?
And shoot.
Sometimes you know what, and like I said, I'm not an expert in a lot of this stuff. I'm lazy. I just want to go out and take some fun pictures and enjoy myself. So, and maybe at some point I'll really get more involved in a lot of the technical stuff, and figuring things out. But sometimes I look at, you want to have a nice V curve or that bell or whatever, the U curve or whatever you want to call it. And it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
MX Quattro
line, or is this really shallow one?
MX Quattro said, and you still can't search under a common name for ASI Air.
No, you can't. No,
you can't put in Andromeda Galaxy.
Andromeda or anything.
You got to know the designation, whether it be NGC or Messier or Caldwell.
So it's got to be a catalog designation.
It's got to be a catalog designation. Yes.
Oh,
yeah. It does.
So once again, but see, once again, this is the reason why having Charles Bracken on, and once again, looking at his book, when people get in this hobby, you got to kind of get yourself familiar with the constellations. You got to get yourself familiar with the star hopping. Really, there's no harm and no foul if you just kind of learn how to star hop, because at least you can look up and say, okay, there's that, there's this, there's this, there's this. Mm-hmm. At least now you know that you don't have to remember all the catalog designations, but at least a couple of the Messiers, a couple of the NGCs. Yeah. It just forces people to kind of learn this hobby a little bit.
Well, you know what? If you haven't done it, and this has nothing to do with astrophotography at all, zero. If you haven't done it yet and you want to learn about one of the main catalogs, the Messier catalog, you got about 2 months. Yep. You got about 2 months. And you got an event that's going to be going on in about 2 months called the Messier Marathon.
Yep.
And what that is that from mid-northern latitudes, you'll be able to get Well, you can get if you. There's a real crazy. You can see all 110 Messier items in one night. Okay, so I've done the Messier marathon. I've done it a couple times. The most I ever got was 81. But so I did.
It's funny you should say that because I saw somebody do like a periodic, the periodic chart, the elements.
Yep.
They did it with the Messier.
Oh.
They had them run it through, like the periodic, and it was just a great idea. But it was such a great chart. I wish I could find it where it was.
That's awesome. But with the Messier marathon, what it does, and if you look it up, it will give you what to look at first. And if I remember right, and I'm doing this completely off the top of my head, it could be completely wrong, but I think the first object in the Messier marathon in it's usually either mid-March, and then you could do it again in mid-April, but you may not be able to get all 110. You might get 105 or something like that. I don't remember. But the first one is in the group of Virgo, and it's like M77, M74, those guys over there, the little galaxy, because they're setting right at sunset.
Okay.
And M77 is already a dim little whatever anyway. So you got to get that thing right away. And then there's a streak for like hours after you get the ones right before sunset, you got time, but you don't have time to get those. You got about a 20-minute window to get the first like 10. And you're going like crazy. And I think that's where I lost a lot of them. I think I only got like 2 or 3 out of the first 10. But once you start getting above like, the 30-degree angle and you start working, because it works its way across the sky. So it starts at sunset in the west and it works your way to the east. Okay. And you just sit there and it'll give you a list of what to look at first in declination format.
Yeah.
So you'll sit there and say, okay, start with the ones at sunset and work your way up to the zenith and work your way down. Now, the problem is, and where a lot of people kind of like say, forget it, I'm done, I'm going to bed, is that like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning when you're just about done with everything, you got about a 2.5 hour span of where you do nothing. And you're waiting for things to come out of the west so you can get the rest. And it's a lot of interesting. For those, I'm going to give a little history lesson here about Messier since we got some time. So Messier. So do you know the story about? Does everybody know the story about Messier, Charles Messier?
Messier?
Yeah. Do you know how he came across making this lovely catalog?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Charles Messier in the late 1700s, about 1780 or so, he was a comet hunter. And he loved comets. And he loved looking for comets and searching for comets in the night sky.
Okay.
And now there wasn't any, it was 1780. There wasn't a light bulb. There wasn't any lights. There was none of that stuff. The dark sky was unbelievable. It's like you were in the desert every night. It was great. Here you go. Charles Messier with a garbage telescope is searching for comets, right?
Right.
He said, and he kept on coming across these things because everybody knows now that comets move at a different rate than sidereal. They move a lot faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what he did was he made a list of things that he kept on seeing that didn't move, that he kept on coming across that pissed him off. And they weren't comets. So he didn't give a crap about them. So he made a list of these 110 things that annoyed the crap out of him. And it turns out that it's about 110 of the most fabulous things that we look at today, including the Orion Nebula, the Crab Nebula, M101, the Andromeda Galaxy, the Hercules Cluster. I mean, I can go on forever. But these things just annoyed the crap out of him so much, they made a catalog out of it. And now it's made by Charles Messier. And that's the comedic thing. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's the bare bones story of it.
Oh, that's so funny.
That is
I like the way you put it. He was so ticked off all this crap. 110 things that just pissed him off.
That I know that they're not comets, and I don't want to. And he wrote down the coordinates of everything and everything. He wrote it down, made a list, and there's some I guess disagreement on how many Messier items there are. Some say 110, some say 108, some say 112. You know, so there's a little disagreement in that, but I stick with the standard 110. Done. That's like how many Star Trek episodes are there? Are there 79 or 80?
Well,
Nobody can answer.
Are you including the very first pilot with Pike?
Yeah, of course I do. Come on, man.
But who was the actor that played Christopher Pike?
Jeffrey Hunter.
Jeffrey Hunter.
Come on, man.
Echo, I tell you.
Come on, man.
Well, here's a good question that I was going to ask everybody.
Yeah.
What do you use? J2000 or J now?
2000.
2000.
I use 2000. Yep.
Yeah. So
you mean JPEG?
Yeah, I always wondered then. They have J now, but I don't think does anybody really use J now? I mean, I'm going to propose this to the audience members. How many actually use J now? Because I know I've been using J2000.
I think I've always used J2000.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep, I've always used it.
Stellarium, you know, and
yeah.
When I first got started, I just stuck, you know, with J2000.
Yep. Yeah, I've just always said I know J now is. I mean, you can see between. There's just a slight motion of the stars. It's a little bit different, but okay. So Bob's using J now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just curious how many people definitely use J now or J2000.
I think a lot of people are still using J2000. J now is a little bit on the newer side.
Yeah.
But let's see. So what else is going on? I missed everyone's talking about. Somebody had a question. Okay, this is a question for you, Eric, maybe.
Okay.
Can you manually enter things into the catalog on the ASI Air?
Yep, you sure can. I can even show you.
Show us.
All right. So let me share my screen here. And here we are.
Yep.
And here is the ASI Air. Okay. So you can actually, you can actually type in, if you know your RA and declination, you can actually manually type this in. You can actually type this in by just clicking on your RA or your deck and actually entering in that information just by scrolling. Okay. You can also, if I click target here, and if I hit the little ellipses here, you have this area called My Favorites. Okay. So when you go to a certain object or manually enter in that information in that RA and deck, you can go to My Favorites and then hit the plus sign. And you can say, you can either use current position of my mount, or you can manually type that information in, and then you can give it a name. And then you can click OK.
Nice. Hey, Eric, can you? I just thought of another glitch that happened. Stop. Stay there. Go back. Okay. Mm-hmm. So no. Go back to the list of like tonight's best or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what should come up on tonight's best, and it'll give you whatever from your latitude. And so just click on anyone, don't matter.
Okay.
Okay. So you see that nice little green dot that just came up on the right side? There you go, right there.
The go-to?
The go-to, right. Guess what disappeared last night?
Your go-to disappeared.
The go-to, it wasn't, the dot wasn't there. I couldn't go anywhere. I kept on clicking on the item and it highlighted, but the dot wasn't there. And it was the same on my computer on BlueStacks. It was the same on my iPhone. It was the same on my tablet.
Right.
It wasn't there, and I had to reboot again.
And, I will agree that it is kind of frustrating, with the ASI Air, because it uses a lot of the catalog names and not some of the common ones, such as SH2220. Do we know what SH2220 is?
What is that? The California?
It's the California. So it's a little frustrating, because you can go through these. And so, like, here's the witch head. And like, here's popular name, NGC.
That is not the popular name.
Not the popular name. Popular name is Witch Head.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So it does get a little frustrating, some of these, but it does give you some good ideas as far as, what you're aiming for. Because I believe this whole area, this is around the high 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So, it's just, that's just a little quirk that I have, that just drives me nuts. And I know it drives a lot of other people nuts. So
yeah, it's like even with like sequence,
because here you got this M31 instead of it says Andromeda Nebula. It's not a nebula; it's a galaxy. Hello.
What is wrong with you people?
What is wrong here?
Oh goodness!
Oh wait, no, hold on. NGC 1499 is
there's this other designation.
That's so
you
funny.
have this other designation.
That's a California again.
It is a California again.
Under a different name.
But it also has its popular name, which is the Bright Nebula catalog number.
I don't know who thought that was a Bright Nebula. I don't know.
But it is a Mission Nebula. So
actually, somebody was talking about M40.
Yeah. Hey, Eric, do they have SH2 240 listed?
Let's see.
I'm sure they do. They got the Sharpless catalog.
Yep.
There it is.
There it is, right there. What do they call it? Let's click on it. What do they call it?
They call it SH2 240.
But it tells you the constellation. It gives you your declination and your right ascension.
They got it.
It does give you a little bit of information.
It's funny. They got it in the bowl, but that's the spaghetti bowl.
Yep.
And it's right there by Elnath. It's right beside Elnath, which is in Aruga. So,
okay.
But it does share. Elnath is the star that shares the one horn with the bull. So maybe that's why.
It's funny. It's funny. No, go back to that picture again.
Okay.
Look at what it calls a constellation.
Bull.
Instead of saying Taurus.
Not Taurus, just bull.
What is that? What is that? Dude, I'm ready to turn on Bull right now on TV.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, somebody's got to talk to these people.
Yeah, I don't know which.
Well, not for nothing, guys, but ZWO they are a Chinese-based company, and I have a kind of an interesting perspective on that. Seeing as I'm married to a Chinese lady, that one of the things that you might be experiencing is that there is a real problem with translation going from Mandarin to English, and
it's a very hard language.
They may not be picking it up. The proper translation.
Oh, so right. Are you telling me then when the Chinese launched that rocket, they're going to say, "Oh, we meant to go to the moon, but we ended up on Mars because guess what? We put it." I don't know about that software.
Yeah, the translation may be a big part of the problem, because there's a lot of things in Mandarin that just do not translate. It's really, and sometimes the translation is really goofy.
Yeah, that's definitely could be part of it.
I
mean, the whole thing, but that's like two in a row. It looks like that they're. It looks like what they're doing. What's this? There's another one, the Constellation Hunter.
Yeah,
we know it's Orion. I know it's Orion. You know it's Orion.
That's the flame, and
that's the flame. Yep.
So.
But the whole thing is that even if not even with translation, if you're selling this item to Europe, Asia, America, whatever, you got to kind of sit there and say, okay, I don't even know if it has so much to do with translation as it has to do with, hey, that's the constellation. We all call it the constellation. What do they call that here?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it has a lot to do with I get translation. Translation is rough, man. In any language, it's rough. But when you're putting it out there and most of the world goes and says, that's like the same problem that I had with Sharp Star. when they had the Sharp Star mount. And
Eric, let's pull up IC 405. Let's see what the constellation is.
Oh, okay, yeah. The flaming star. Okay.
Yeah, let's see what's the constellation.
Oh no, here we go.
The
Charioteer.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
But
just not its name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
I guess you got to kind of know what it is in order to kind of find out. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But it goes to what I was saying when it comes down to the Sharp Star. When I got the Sharp Star mount and everything is backwards, like the time zones. Why is Eastern +5 in their hand control? Why is Eastern +5? Why is West positive and not negative like it always is everywhere else? So there are certain standards that there should be, especially when you're dealing with technology.
Oh yeah.
That I shouldn't have to look in a book to see if West is negative. I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to look and see if somebody's changing my time zone. The time zone has been the same everywhere and except wherever they made the Sharp Star.
I mean, for me, I would have said everything is UTC and then said, okay, -6 is for me.
For you.
That's Central Time.
Right. Correct.
-5 is your time.
Correct.
Stuff like that. Set it to UTC, and then you don't have a problem. But I don't know.
Somebody said they'd be interested to see what they have for something in the constellation of Sextant. I don't know what's in Sextant. I know the constellation, but I don't know anything in there because I'm from New York, so I have no idea.
Or Microscopius. That'll be interesting too to see what they put in for that one.
That might be close. I might actually call it a microscope.
Yeah.
Give me I'll be kind of curious. What is the designation like, say, for tarantula or another popular southern
Carina?
Huh?
Carina.
Oh yeah, Carina. So
But is Argo, is that in Argo, the boat? I mean, remember Puppus? P-U-P-P.
Puppus, yeah.
Okay, NGC 3372. Okay. So NGC 3372. Okay. The constellation Keel.
What?
It is the keel of the boat.
Keel. Keel. That is
like
the Carina. I think that's the Carina one. That's for Carina, and it says this constellation is the Keel.
What's the keel? What is a keel? Maybe I'm just dumb, but what is a keel?
Keel is the bottom of a boat.
Yeah,
it's the bottom of the boat. It's the puppus, but it's the bottom end of it. So
got it. The keel. Okay, the keel. I got it now.
Keel haul.
Yeah.
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 It's the bottom of the ship.
The only time I remember seeing the bottom of the boat is in a movie called Ben-Hur, and this guy was sitting in a chair. Dump. It's great. Sorry, and I digress. I apologize.
But you know what? But it is really cool that you can, like, say, for planning, that you can use software like Telescopius or a website like Telescopius and download their information, that planning information, especially if you're doing mosaics, and then import that into the ASI Air, and you import the RA and deck for all of your frames, for all, and it's ready, it's good to go. So that's one cool thing that I do like about it, that they have addressed to it.
I'm sorry, I had to go on the YouTube site. We're getting some spam messages in the chat. I guess that means we're getting a little big. We're getting spam messages now. So I had to get.
It's wakey pills for Scott.
This is like porn messages.
What?
Yeah.
I agree with Beatrice. Sky Safari is pretty amazing. It is a nice.
I'm not sure if I like the newest version. I downloaded it, and Yeah, I don't like the interface. I like having all the buttons down there with the compass and everything down there. Now they're down to like 4 buttons on there, and I'm looking for some of the features, and I can't find them. And it's a little bit. Maybe I just got to learn it a little bit better. I keep on going back to Sky Safari 6.
Yeah, I have 6. I haven't upgraded.
Yeah, 7 is a little wonky to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like
still
6.
have 6.
Yeah, I like 6. I bought 7 because there was a sale for the new year. I think
Yeah,
it was like it was like $19 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was pretty cheap. So I bought it because I'm a fan of simulation curriculum and what they've been doing. And I'm not sold on number 7 right now.
That's what I was hearing from others, and that's why I didn't bother, because they were having a New Year's sale on 7, but I was hearing some, as far as feedback, wasn't very positive, and they didn't like it. They're like, certain things broke, shutting down the menu, stuff like that, made it a little bit more difficult to understand. So I just said no. I'm just gonna keep with 6, and I have plus. I have 6 plus, and it works fine for me.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna be able to, if you guys, let's see if I could do this. I'll screw up my focus just to show you.
Damn.
So hold on a second.
I'm still back at 1.85.
There we go. I got it. Yep, you're in focus now.
There you go. So this is Sky Safari 6.
Yep.
Okay, and it's got all of the. It's got all the stars. You can move it around. You can do the compass, which is where is it? I'm backwards. Where's the compass? There we go. There's the compass over here. And you just hit it, and you can move everything around, and everything kind of moves around, and all that kind of stuff. And it's nice, and it's got the date, it's got the time right here, it's got everything. Now go to 7, and that's what 7 looks like.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah,
and it's just very, very minimalistic to me. It's not as robust as 6. And I think that I'm still going to stay with 6 as opposed to 7 because of that. So,
what are your thoughts on Starry Nights? I thought Starry Nights was from Celestron. It's basically its own version, like its partnership.
There is a partnership, but I don't think it's Celestron based.
Yeah, I know Celestron sells it with their.
They do.
They do sell it. And I thought they also used it with their Star Sense. And
no, their Star Sense is actually used with Celestron's program called the Sky Portal.
Sky Portal, okay.
And Sky Portal, if you look at Sky Portal, it's almost the same exact thing as Sky Safari. I believe the base coding, and Pete, maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong. The base coding is written by the same people. So what they do with Starry Night, and Starry Night's its own separate company.
Right.
And what they do is they do have a little partnership with Celestron. What they do is they give you a trial version of Starry Night in some of their telescopes, and then if you like it, you can buy it through Starry Night software.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So. But Starry Night, I really haven't. I've had a bunch of versions of Starry Night, and I was a Sky person. I was the Sky 3, 4, 6, and I never got X because I never needed it. I went to by the time X was around, I was already plate solving, so I never needed it.
One good thing about the All Sky Image Link and Sky X, I think that's pretty much one of the best robust astrometric solutions out there. I mean, that's one thing that Software Bisque has done is that they've done a great job on the All Sky Image Link.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah. But, as I said, it's, there's so many great programs like Voyager. I mean, I use Voyager. Voyager is a great program, and it's so good you're going to have a Roland on, because it's going to be interesting to have him talk about the new version that's out. So I've been playing with it over the last week, and I've been working with Prism. I've been really getting involved with Prism and Maxim DL, because I get calls all the time. People say, Pete, what do you think? Should we do this? Should we do that? And I just say, well, what's your budget? Let's say what your budget is first, and then we'll stay within your budget, because if you have the money, don't don't get any of these programs, because really, Nina, how do you beat Nina? You can't. You really can't.
It's free.
It's
It
free.
is absolutely.
It's free. Yeah.
You know, and it's really, really functional. It really is. I mean, I'll put that up against Maxim
Yep.
as far as control is concerned.
I mean, I would like to have him on as a guest. It would be interesting to just see if he'd be interested in coming in. I don't know if there could be
Glover?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there could be a translation. He's German, isn't he? Is he German or?
I think so. I think he's over there, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's like, how do you beat Nina? I mean, for being free, and look at the program. It's such a powerful program. You can't beat it.
Nope. You know, and you know, that's one of the reasons why I'm a Nina convert. So I mean, I started with Maxim DL4 way back when.
Yep.
And then I pulled the trigger on that, like $450 it was back then, and so I bought that, and then I bought Images Plus. I went to Images Plus.
Images Plus was the big one. Remember, they were big. They were the big at that time.
They were a flash in a pan though, so they were there and then they were gone, and you know, it was like kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then from there I went to I probably went to Sequence Generator Pro, probably, because I had a couple years in between where I wasn't doing much of anything. So I was getting frustrated with the technology. It wasn't as far advanced as I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could have changed that. I'm not a programmer by any means. But once Sequence Generator Pro came out, that's when I started seriously kind of getting into astrophotography. And then Sean Nielsen kicked me in the ass and said, "You got to try Nina. Come on." And so I got on the Nina boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many out there. I mean, my God, there's Sky Tools. And there's
I still use Sky Tools.
Yeah, I mean, Sky Tools is such a great little program. God, what's that? Hold on, what's that one there? It's Deep Sky Planner. That's another one.
Yeah, you were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. I've never used it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great planning program. I mean, it really is so good. It will tie you into your planetarium program depending upon which one you're using, Starry Nights, SkyX, or whatever. But you know, as I said, there's so many good programs out there now that it's just, you know, it's just whatever your budget is, or if you just want to go on the freebie, you know, program. Yeah, like even ASTAP. ASTAP's great for plate solving, but you know what? You can do your own calibration registration. It's a great program for that. I started playing with it here about a month ago, and it really is a powerful program as well.
Yeah, so, I was playing with. Well, I originally got ASTAP down just for the cheap version of CCD Inspector.
Yep.
And you were able to get the curvature, tilt, all the information that you need. If you're having an issue, you can kind of diagnose an issue. And unfortunately, if you have the old version of ASTAP, keep it. Don't get the new one. Don't get the new version of ASTAP for curvature or anything. Don't get it. They took off most of the CCD Inspector stuff. So keep the old version of ASTAP. Keep it to the side. Get the new version of ASTAP for your plate solving, you know, but keep the old version, because you're never going to get. I actually had to purchase CCD Inspector, so I purchased that for whatever it was, $169 or whatever it was.
Yeah, well, see, that's something that's interesting too, is because Prism has all that in there, and the nice thing about Prism software is that, like Maxim, it does your data capture, it does your post processing. It'll definitely give you a image analysis. And Hansa has allowed people to use it for 80 days to try it. And
I saw that.
And we definitely reach out to him, because we'll get him on as well. So he'll.
Yeah, I already have I'm awaiting a response from Hamza. I think he's in a different time zone. So
Hawaii.
Hawaii. All right. So he should have read my email by now if he's in Hawaii.
Let's see. Josh has a question, ASI question that I'm
okay.
Answer. It says, can you do a drag and drop or re-enter on part of an image with ASI Air Plus? You cannot necessarily do like a drag or drop or something like that. You can, if you have a previous image, you can do a go-to of that image, right? and then you can be able to go to, you can do a go to of that image, and then take another image, like a preview, and then you can then do a touch of your screen and select, say if there's a particular star or particular area that you actually want to center on. You can actually go and click on that area and click on go, and then do a go to, and it'll go there and it'll center it in that area that you're pointing at. But as far as a drag and drop, I don't believe so, that you cannot do a drag and drop. But that's the only way I can think you can basically use part of an image, is if you have the original image, do a go to, take another preview, and then go to that area that you're kind of interested in.
Nice. And we got another picture from a viewer. For those of you that know, George Lutch sent us a nice picture. It says it's an unstretched, undone. Well, it's probably stretched, but that's about it. Here we go. Let's show this. I always liked this image, but here we go.
Ooh, IC 443. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, it's by its IC designation. This is a jellyfish.
Jellyfish.
And you know what? I always wanted one image with it actually like framed like a jellyfish. A lot of people do this image like it's swooping out to the side. I want it sweeping up like that. Like, so this is the top of the jellyfish.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to see one like this, and maybe like the star at the bottom. You know what I mean? But
that star is Propus, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful star. What's going to be so nice is, what's so beautiful about this particular image is just the laciness of that supernova remnant. It's kind of like the Spaghetti Nebula. It's got that real fine lace. And on the backbone of it is where you get the O3 region.
I wish the ASIR had a framing assistant.
Yeah, I understand. The only way you can really do framing on there is when you take a preview, it does give you the degrees of kind of like how your sensor is turned. It does give you some degrees, and some information. Let me see if I can bring this up here. And let me go here. Let me just go back. And like I said, don't correct me if I'm wrong, but here, I'll share my screen here and see if I can do this.
There we go. Give me a second. There you go.
Okay. So I believe if you go to the preview and if you do a quick snapshot, so we'll do a quick snapshot here. This is Capella. And you do and then if you do the plate solve, it'll give you your angle and this is basically kind of the angle of your sensor. You see how mine is close to 90 degrees? So I believe if I rotated or turned my camera, it would redo the angle.
Right.
Give you a new angle of degrees. And that way, maybe this can perhaps help you in some way on framing that target.
Yeah, but you'd say, I mean, I don't know anything about this, maybe, but you still have to take a picture and see where you're at.
Yeah, you have to take the picture and see where you're at, see where your angles, see how angled your sensor is, and because what I'm doing is with mine is I'm shooting it at that 90-degree angle, so I'm pretty darn close, right on at 90 degrees.
Right.
So and if I wanted to do, something else, or I had to do some sort of framing, or had to do it a certain way, or turning my camera, then I would do that another. And another thing you can do then is if you use something like, say, a telescopius, and if you're using telescopius, and you can go to your camera, and then you can begin to turn.
That's your prep work.
You can do this prep work here for your framing, and then you can then start working within your with your camera and then with the ASI Air to go back and start seeing this angle here. And then you can start turning it, take a shot, see what that angle is, see how close it is compared to, say like Telescopius here. And you would keep working with that until, you get to where you're trying to get to, as far as the degrees and that you're trying to get to in your position angle.
See, that Telescopius and Blackwater Sky or Blackwater, will definitely give you the prep work, and then you can tune it here within the ASI Air Pro.
Yep.
So I hope that helps.
Tarek's getting like he's feeling bad. He said there's too many ZWO users here. Maybe I should find a place that doesn't have as many ZWO users. Unfortunately, ZWO is definitely one of the leaders out there.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I don't use ZWO cameras.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And in all fairness to ZWO, right? I mean, what's this? This is the third generation, right?
Yeah.
Third generation. So as more people are asking for more features, those will definitely be added to it. So who's to say in version 4, version 5 that all this is not going to be incorporated?
Exactly. Yeah. They keep adding more and more to this, to the ASI Air, so for example, and especially to the software. For example, when we first got started with the software, you weren't able to do polar alignment.
Yep.
Now they have polar alignment. You were only be able to do very basic guiding. And a few versions ago, like sometime last year, they started doing multi-star guiding.
Yep.
So they keep adding on. They start. One thing I will say about the ZWO team is that they ask for suggestions, and people give them, and then they start working to see what they can incorporate and what makes sense. And they take a consensus of like, this is what the majority of people are looking for. And then they start working to figure out how they can add that into their software. And they constantly keep doing these updates, which is also kind of nice is when they're doing these updates, it's free. You don't have to purchase, the app on top of you purchasing the ASI Air. It's constantly always bringing out new updates, new firmware updates, new software updates. So you don't have to worry about those things, which is one thing I like and appreciate about it too.
Charles Bracken is very excited. He just emailed me again.
Oh, yeah. Send him a link to the show. Dan, send him a link to the show and just say, hey, any Wednesday or Friday, just let
I will. I'll do that in another email.
Yeah.
I mean, you got for me, one of the more well-known authors of some of the most popular imaging and astrophotography books that are out there right now. That's coming onto the show. I mean, I think it's freaking awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, we got some avid Nina people, and we got some avid ZWO users. So we're gonna have a Coke and Pepsi challenge eventually.
Yeah,
yeah. It's totally fine. You feel comfortable with. I mean,
yeah. I mean, Scott and I are both. Scott and I are both Eagle users. Jason and Eric are both ZWO users, and Simon. Both Tyler, ZWO user. I mean, me and Scott are. I mean, I don't even know what you use an Eagle, right, Pete?
I use Eagle. I've got a Fusion here that I have to use everything because I have to kind of know the features, benefits of everything, so that when people talk to me, I can say, well, if you're asking my opinion or you're just saying this is what you want. So, I mean, what you'll notice in this hobby is that everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Yep. You'll know which companies are good, which ones are quality, which ones you just, they're not just there yet, which ones you truly want to stay away from. But as I said, you just know that this is it, because once again, you're trying to put together a system for somebody where that they're paying their hard-earned dollars, so they're going to put their faith and their trust in you. So you want to give them the best sound technical advice. Yeah. But definitely the Eagle, Primalucci, great company, great products. Optech, American-made. Optech, great focusers, great rotators. I mean, no question about it. The only thing right now that bothers me about Feather Touch is that Wayne Schroeder is left, and when Wayne left, now their lead time is 6 months. I found this out last week. I can't wait 6 months for a freaking focuser. So now it's crazy. So we've definitely reached out to Optech to have Optech now supply us with a lot of their focusers because of that lead time.
Yeah, a friend of mine, a customer at Camera Concepts, ordered the Feather Touch motorized for his C11, and he ordered that back in August, and he called up yesterday, and they said it's going to be another 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's August, September, October, November, December, January. We're at 6 months right now, and now they're talking 3 more. He's this close now to purchasing, because he already has an Eagle. He's this close to purchasing like an Asado 3-inch for his Schmidt.
Yep. So, so the key once again is like you can go with Primalucci, you can go with Optech with their TCF and LSI with their adapters, their Optech 4300 adapters. There's always alternative choices, and they're good quality alternative choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unfortunate that with Wayne leaving now at Feather Touch, that really literally there's only 1 or 2 guys back there in the shop, and they just don't have the experience that Wayne did to be able to get product moved out. So, they do make the best rack and pinion focusers, no question about it.
That's tough.
Yeah. No. Well, everybody's going through some tough times as far as getting materials and stuff like that. So it's part of the world we live in right now. So
once again, I mean, should be a wake-up call to all these politicians. Hey, bring it back home. Bring it back here. Make America great again. I mean, this is it. I mean, this is a wake-up call that we've put too much reliability on overseas production and manufacturing, and look what's happening. So
people, and these companies, they're looking for cheap labor.
Exactly. And so I'm thinking, how many people wouldn't mind paying a little bit more money if they could get something a little bit quicker and American made?
Yeah.
It's just,
get that local support. I'm telling you, if something goes wrong,
I agree.
I would totally go for that local support instead of having to worry about, having to send something out, so far away, and God knows how long it's going to take for it to get there, to troubleshoot it, and then for it to get back.
Go through customs both ways.
I hear you.
I mean, it's amazing. It's just like an example. When I was at OPT, and people would have a camera that was under warranty, but it was broken. And typically back then, it was always the cooling fan. That once you push that cooling fan up to 90% load, that was the one weakness with the ZWO cameras. You don't want to push it past minus 10 degrees, 15 degrees at the most. That's the perfect temperature for cooling a camera. You don't need to go more than that.
Right.
But what would happen is that we would have to collect at least 30 to 40 cameras before we could make it economical to ship it all in one package to ZWO. So I tell these clients that you're going to be out at least 16 weeks without a camera because we got to wait until we get enough of them to be able to ship them back.
Yep.
So this was a wake-up call that they needed to have a repair facility here in the States. If
they have one now.
They got one now.
Yeah, they have one now. Just recently, within the past 6 months. I want to say it's in Indianapolis. I could be wrong about that. I heard it was in Indianapolis. But they just opened that up, and they're going through their growing pains. So it's going to be a while until they, get fully up and running. But I mean, for the most part, it's going to be better if you have, a camera that craps out on you as far as ZWO is concerned. So,
and same with QHY. I mean, QHY is that the guy that used to repair all the SBIG cameras out of Lompoc, he now is doing all the QHY repairs.
Okay.
And the nice thing about working with Mike Barber, who's the U.S. rep for QHY, is that he has cameras on stock. So let's just say you bought a brand new camera, it's still under warranty, and just say it crapped on you, it took a tank. You don't have to send you send that camera to Mike Barber. He'll send you a new one if he's got it to hold you over until yours gets fixed. So this is what is kind of nice about a lot of these companies having American representation here, that they can get turnaround a lot quicker. So.
Yep.
For sure. I mean, you look at...
Oh, it's in West Lafayette, Indiana. I was close.
Okay.
Yep. Well, that's good, though. That's in the Midwest. So that's
it is. That's good.
I was close. I was in the right state though. So
Yeah, Feather Touch, just around the not too far away.
there you go. But we got any more questions? Good for Scott. Scott, you got
Yeah.
a cheering group out there. They were taking bets on you to see if what time you would nap.
Let me ask you a question. What is the most budget friendly Eagle right now? Not the DSLR version, but the other versions that you can use, other non DSLR. What is the more budget friendly version right now? Because a lot of people are saying that, it's out of my budget. The Eagle's out of my budget and stuff like that. Yeah, but I'm just kind of curious. What is that more budget friendly version?
The earliest, the cheapest version out there is the LE.
Okay.
And I don't think they raised their prices. At last check, I thought it was $845. Eagle LE.
And now, what are the limitations between that and, say, maybe the standard?
The biggest limitation on the LE is it comes with the Celeron processor.
Okay.
And that's pretty slow as far as I'm concerned, especially when you plate solving and you just What's up?
Compared to the i5, yeah.
Oh, compared to the i3 when you get the base model. I mean, the LE with the Celeron processor, it's really a bare bones kind of thing for somebody who wants to get into that ecosystem. And it's got the USB hubs. It doesn't have the GPS. It doesn't have the eye. It's got like a quarter of the RAM that the Pro has. I think it's down to 4 gig of RAM. It's got 120, I think, gig solid state drive.
Okay.
It's really bare bones.
It's really a bare bones thing. I would tell somebody that if you're going to get into the Eagle, at least spend the extra $200 and get the base model. At least that puts you up to an i3.
Okay.
And then you get a little bit more speed to it because you're right. A lot of people are there. It's not cheap. And yeah, I was right. It was 120 gig solid state drives. It's got the 8 USB ports. It's got the built-in Wi-Fi. It's only got 4 gig of RAM, and it's got the it's only a Celeron. It's even a dual core, so it's not even a quad core like the i3 and the i5. So you're really, really, really kind of the speed of it all is the biggest downfall to the LE, but the LE will work for you. The LE will work for you. I see somebody said 800. I see it for 795. So there are some places that are still selling it for 845. But if you want something that's bare bones like that, and you want to get into this ecosystem, it'll still run your do heaters. It's got the HDMI out. It's got the Ethernet in. It's really decent, but it's slower. I'll be dead honest with you. It's slower than all the rest.
Sure.
Yeah.
But for 845 or 800 even, you got a Windows 10 enterprise computer that you can load anything you want on it.
Yep.
Okay.
And you can use just about any ASCOM driven peripheral.
No, you can use any, and nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, you can use any sort of thing that you can put on your regular computer. Yeah.
So Indie, ASCOM, you can use ASCOM. That's no problem. You can use Indie. There should be no problem.
Yep.
So okay.
You can put anything you can put on a Windows computer. You can put on there.
Yeah.
So, how do you? Okay, this is for you, Eric. How do you know when you are clipping your stars in the ASI Air?
How do you know when you are clipping your stars in the ASI Air?
You want to show your histogram real quick?
I am.
All right.
Let me cancel this. And let me
be able to put that mouse right on that star and get a value on it.
So let me share. And should be ready to go.
Because you just go into a bright star, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So here is the histogram. And I can tell here, and I'm centered right now on, I believe this is Capella.
Yep.
I guess, right here, you can tell if you're doing any clipping. Help me if I'm not mistaken. I apologize.
Well,
I just know. I just go off and I just know. I'm not clipping.
Well, clipping on the black point,
there.
Yeah, you need to be pushed off that wall a little bit.
Yes.
The foot.
Yeah.
They call it the foot.
The foot. Well, the foot. Okay, the foot should be off that wall, so you should see a little space.
Yep, and here it is. If you see that.
And if I'm looking at this right, you may be clipping a little bit if I'm looking at it right.
That's what I see all the way to the right.
That's what I'm seeing. But it may be a little on the right. That means you're overexposed a little bit. It is a bright star.
Yeah. So, and to be honest, right now, I think I'm maxed out.
Oh, you're at 390.
So
yeah, bring that down a little bit.
Let me go back to my Unity game because I used 390 when I was focusing.
That's better.
Yeah.
Oh, it disappeared.
Yeah,
see, that's what happens to me.
It's a cloud.
Is that a glitch in the system?
Yeah, it's a cloud. So let me just go here. Ella. Go to. Because I was off. So let me go.
Look at this. Poor Dan was struggling going through all this on Wednesday night.
Yeah. And see, right now, it's doing a flip right now because it's already past meridian. Because past meridian,
it's got to go all the way around.
That's why you were seeing the gray and it was a streaking because it wasn't able to be tracked. It wasn't tracking. So now it's going.
You got to. Are you hardwired, Eric?
I am hardwired.
Okay, yeah. So somebody said that's a fast preview load. Are you hardwired?
I sure am.
Yeah. Eric doesn't believe in Wi-Fi.
Nope.
Can you with the ASI Air? Can you put your mouse on a particular part of the picture, and it'll give you a value of that picture?
Of the pixel?
I don't believe so, but we can take a quick look. I don't believe so though.
Yeah, because in like PixInsight, when you roll over the star, it'll give you a K reading, which is your black reading.
Yep.
So obviously, 0 is black, 1 is white. So the closest you are to white, it'll show that if you're overexposed or clipping your blacks.
I think I got clouds. That's why it failed on the first.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, auto centering. Let's try it again. See where we're at.
So once again, with the software, if you mouse over on the star, it won't give you the HFD value, will it? Not yet in the software. No. Okay.
It will. It'll give you when you're doing your focusing. It'll give you the HFD value.
Okay.
Yeah, and the autofocus routine will give it to you in the box. Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody said they sent me a question on email. Okay, I have a question.
It must be cloudy.
Yeah.
Which is why I was actually looking at. I was hoping I was going to be able to do something, and turned out, yeah. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
So here's Capella. You can't play soft because it's so cloudy. You can't really see anything else.
Yeah.
But here you can tell. Yeah, I'm not clipping.
No, now you got to see. Now I wish you could zoom in on that histogram.
Yeah, I wish I could.
But you could see number one on the left wall. You see, there's a little space where it says 0.
Yep.
And there's a space between 0 and that wall. You want to see that.
Yep.
Because if you are too far against that wall, what Peter calls the foot, if you're too far over, that means you're clipping your blacks.
Yep.
So you're missing a lot of data there, and it's being hidden. Same thing with the right. If you're too far to the right at the 65,000 range,
you're blown out.
You're blown out.
Exactly.
And it's easier to fix the stuff to the left than it is to the right.
Yeah.
So right now we can see our average is 2,099.
Yep.
Average ADU. Yep.
Yep.
And this is a 14-bit camera.
Yep.
So.
All right, let's see.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I extend this, if I can get some more stars. Let's go. Maybe if I add on another 10. But I know if I boosted the gain, I would start clipping, yes, but I probably could be able to plate solve a lot better too.
Yeah. Are you binning 1 by 1, Eric?
2 by 2.
2 by 2. Okay.
Yep. I'm binning 2 by 2.
I got the chat in a way I couldn't see it.
Okay. Yeah. So right now it's failing because cloud interference.
Yep.
So.
Somebody said if you hit the plus button, you could expand the histogram.
Ah.
There you go.
Look at that.
There you go. We see. Remember what I said? Keep educating.
Keep educating. So there you go. So you go from here right to there. Isn't that nice?
That is nice.
So where is the extreme left on your histogram there? Is it that black arrow?
Yeah. It's a 0. It's the 0 right here. So
can't see it all that well.
Yeah, so there's a 0 left of the bottom of the histogram. So
okay.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
To the right of the foot.
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Because I think if see if it does it now. If we boosting up my gain. See if it lets me plate solve.
He said something about tools. You'll be able to see more stars. Info on the stars if you hit the tools.
You will. Yep, you sure will. Let this go ahead. All right. So if you go to tools here, you can detect your stars, and it'll give you the average HFD, I believe.
Yep.
So to give you your average star size.
Yep. Yeah, it's an arc seconds and pixels.
Yep.
Yep.
So, and you can also do an annotate where it'll, so you can do an annotate here. It'll tell you the object that you're looking at and give you a name. So there's Capella. So,
And
it's not too bad.
Somebody just sent me a picture saying, "Am I doing this right?"
Let me go back. Okay, let me minimize this guy.
Let me see if I can get. I'm gonna have to do it with my cell phone again because I can't get it on. For some reason, it's not letting me forward the picture.
I thought I stopped sharing. Oh, there it is. Stop sharing.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my friend Gig from Long Island, and he's got, it looks like a Skyguider Pro, if I remember right. And basically, he wants to, I think it's right. This is the way I've normally seen it. So if everyone wants to look at it, and I'll focus it and he wants to know if I have this right. And
let's back it up.
There you go. So he wants to know if the counterweight, which is the counterweight shaft, which is here, is on the right side. As
can you turn it at all? There you go. Maybe that may be better. No, you had it right.
Hold on a second. Let me turn off the let me turn off the shift here. Where the hell is it on this? There it is. So it'd be like that. So that looks the right way to me.
That looks like the right way.
Because the
I
shaft
don't have
has
the Skyguider Pro, but that looks like that's correct.
Yeah, so usually the longer piece up here, I'm sorry, right there, see how like that's longer than the bottom piece here?
Mm-hmm.
That's usually where the counter shaft goes right there, the counterweight shaft. And then that's where your saddle goes up there where your telescope will go. So it looks right to me, Gig. So
yeah,
I would go with that.
Yeah, some are saying I've seen some mounting them the opposite way.
I have too, depending on how heavy your camera is.
Yeah. Doesn't matter with the Skyguider.
So every picture that I've seen has the saddle on the long side and the counterweight shaft on the short side.
There you go.
So there you go. So, and I'm sure somebody online will tell me I'm completely wrong, and that's okay. And I'm so out of. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
You're
wow.
so
What
out of
happened
focus,
again? It looks like something on the Outer Limits. What was the first? Just a question. What was the first episode of the Outer Limits? Galaxy?
That's not fair, man. You're predating me here. Come on.
Yeah, that's going back.
Now,
a
now I
ways.
will.
I'm
I
showing
will
my
tell.
age is what it is.
I will tell you something. Now there is a galaxy out there called NGC 891, and its common name is the Outer Limits Galaxy. Right? Now, if you remember the Outer Limits Galaxy, right? The Outer Limits, the preview of the show where it starts with the credits, it has a galaxy that it kind of zooms in on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Outer Limits Galaxy actually is not the Outer Limits Galaxy from the TV show. It's just been dubbed that because it looks that way. It's not the Outer Limits. I don't even know what galaxy that they use, but it wasn't that. That's been debunked a long time ago.
Wasn't it M31? You could maybe pull it up, where they have can you pull up on the computer and we'll just watch it? Because I think it's M31.
It could be Outer Limits.
I always I tell you what, I always like that 30-second intro with the music and the photos.
Outer Limits intro.
Yeah, my wife loves those programs. She watches the original Twilight Zone.
Here we go. You ready? I'll share my screen.
Yeah, this is good. Here it is.
And I'll can I make it?
There you go.
Oh, of course, now I got commercial. Sorry, guys, commercial.
It's okay. We can wait. What? I always had some reference about the Cold War between the Russians.
Where was the galaxy? Did I miss it?
I didn't see it.
I don't think you see it. I saw the moon.
Is it at the end?
It could be the end credits.
It could be the end credits.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see.
End credits. There you go.
This. Loser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Oh well.
Goods.
It's somewhere. It's somewhere. I don't know where, but it's somewhere.
Bob was asking. Speaking of counterweights, do any of you use a deck axis counterweight?
Jason does.
Hold on.
I have one.
Man.
I have one that I use.
Oh, I sold it. I sold it. I'm sorry.
No longer in the
it's not
COD, right?
It has exited the closet of death, and it has found a new home, and it will enter a new closet of death somewhere in the United States eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, I had that when I had my Schmidt.
Yeah.
Jason uses one, doesn't he?
I do have one. I have one that I use. That's actually it's outside. It's on my Edge 8 that I use often. I mean,
see, there's another reason to have an Eagle. It's a counterweight.
Yeah, but it doesn't help if you're ass heavy. So
yeah.
so I mean, you definitely, especially with the Schmidt, to get that front lens weighted right with the back, you may need one. You may need one, absolutely. Because if you think about it, as you get on the larger and larger Schmidts, and then you put bigger and bigger cameras, filter wheels, focusers, all that kind of stuff on there. Now that corrector plate doesn't look all that kind of heavy anymore. When you got all that stuff, when you got the junk in the trunk, you know, you're gonna have to put something in the front. So absolutely.
And that's when I get like the aluminum dew shield, add a little bit more weight, you know,
it's only about 10 pounds.
Yeah. So, but hey, every little bit helps, man.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I had that, and that's eventually. I think I'm gonna get. You know what? I had a discussion with somebody the other day, a gentleman that I know. He's really, really smart, very, very technical, and he was talking to me about aperture versus camera resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And where's the line where you just need to upgrade your camera to get a better resolved camera and keep like a 127, or keep your older camera and get more focal length. So where's the kind of trade-off, kind of
Sweet spot.
So let's think about that. What's aperture? It's just a light bucket, right?
Yeah.
The bigger the aperture, the bigger the light bucket.
Yep.
Pixel size, the smaller the pixel size, the better the resolution.
Right.
Yep.
But remember, with cameras, it's about sensitivity and resolution, right?
Yep.
We talk about binning. What is binning? Binning sensitivity, pixel size, the smaller pixels, the better the resolution. So you can't have too small of a pixel because, once again, based upon the size of the focal length of the scope, you got to have a balance between the sensitivity with the resolution. So you're right. I mean, when you think about it, what are we looking at? As they always say, what, aperture is king? Everybody goes to aperture, right? Eric, you're a prime example of it. You love aperture. You're the aperture king.
I got the fever.
But the point is now we got to look at image scale, because guess what? We got a bigger light bucket, right? What's that focal length if I got a smaller pixel? What's going to happen to that image scale? So you're right. There's a lot that has to balance between both sides to be able to get the right image scale. And that's what you have to do.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking about, I'm really going towards the aperture side to get deep in.
Yes.
Get deep into the galaxies, get the smaller galaxies, get like Tegan was talking about the other day on the Discord channel. He's talking about the Markarian, the eyes of Markarian, the Markarian chain. And
so in that case, then you want to go with a camera that's at least 6 pixels, right? Because then if you bin, you're already at 12.
Right.
So that's the secret. If you want to get up to that 1800 to 2400 millimeter, you got to go with at least 1x1 binning. You're going to be at least a 6 pixel size camera.
And that's why you and I were talking about offline. We were talking about what should I do when I get this 9 1/4. And, we were talking about it, said, hey, I already got a 6 pixel camera. I got the QHY 16200 that's sitting here. That's 6 micron. So, take that. And I was originally going to put the 268 on the Schmidt because at first glance it matches and I didn't have to take kind of things off and stuff like that. It's okay. But this 16200 is a far better fit for the Schmidt.
It is.
Than the 268 is, just because of the pixel size.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be my plan for my next rig. Is I'll take this camera, I'll move this over to the longer focal length, and I'll take the 268 and plop that on the 127.
Ernie made it. I'm sorry, Pete. Ernie was making a good comment here. Was that there are not a lot of good camera options? New cameras. There's not a lot of good options for long focal length telescopes.
You're right.
That's absolutely right.
Because everybody's kind of hanging out in that 4 micron range.
Mm-hmm.
The 3.76ers and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because think about, once again, with sensitivity, a lot of people don't think about, well, what is sensitivity? Basically we got resolution. The smaller the pixel size, the much better resolution you get. But how much resolution can you get? Because you can't overcome the natural scene conditions.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you can only go to a certain point. You just can't overcome it. But now with sensitivity, you can start to play with the fact that let's say your scene conditions are bad. Let's say you've got your scene conditions are 3 to 4 arc seconds. Well, guess what? Now I can bin 2x2. If I go to the 3x3, now if I can go 4x4. If you go to 5x5 binning, you don't want to be out there doing astrophotography. Believe me, you want to just stay right at about 4x4 at the most. But that gives you now 16 adjacent pixels to be able to get that point spread function with that centroid as that star is being able to scintillate around the central point. So that gives you and especially with that 6 micron size pixel you got, now when you do 2x2 binning, Dan, you're going to be right at 12. So that's the perfect image scale that you've got for that 9 1/4.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I'm so psyched. I'm already on the list. I didn't even put any money on it yet.
Don't I still have mine on the list?
Yours, you're going to get yours before me. So unless if I swipe it on you,
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't do that, man. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, Senthil, we're logging off soon too. It's already 10:20.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're having way too much fun tonight, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Dan, I might want to talk to you because I might need to change that from a 9 1/4, and I might have to jump back to the back of the line again.
Why?
11. I might be thinking about an 11.
Well, let me know ASAP because now you're on a list because there are people before you for the 11. Trust me.
I know. Oh, I'm sure.
You've been on that.
I may even talk to Tyler.
Hey, he's looking to sell one.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like that poor 11 needs to be shipped to FedEx again.
He just may as well take a hammer to it himself.
Oh God!
Why would you do that to that poor scope again? Just leave it where it is.
Hey, listen, he was able to fix that scope, so I don't want to say too much about that because there are legalities involved in that, so I'm not going to talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
but all right, so it's 10:22. We've been on for almost 2.5 hours. I think it's time to do the Shana Na.
Yep.
But yeah. So when will AstroWorld TV go on tour? AstroWorld TV may go on tour for NEEF. So come hang out with us at NEEF because Pete might be there.
I might.
You might be there. Tegan might be there. Scott won't be there.
Scott
won't be there. And keep an eye out. Hopefully the website comes up within the next couple of weeks because keep an eye out on that. It's turning out really, really good. So all the star parties are going to be involved on the calendar. All the guests will be there. The links to everything won't be as crazy as it was before. We have somebody that actually, is got a vested interest in doing this and helping us out. Thank you so much, Simon, for doing this for us. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Hey, I'm still invested in doing, the first unofficial, unsanctioned AstroWorld Star Party at Cherry Springs in May, June. So that might happen. So, last year when we were going to go, we had 10 people registered to go. And I was shocked with that. So, and now we're a lot bigger. So maybe we'll have 15, 20, and we'll actually have to make it official.
Yeah. We're going to reach out to our membership again and say, hey, spread the word. Spread the word. Absolutely. Spread the word because this is starting to take off. Yeah, man. Seriously, I love every minute of this. It's great. I love all the guys. Like Eric said, all you guys, man, you make us, seriously, you make us what we do here. So it's absolutely fantastic. And so if we can just increase our viewership and membership. Yeah. I mean, we're this close to 1,000, our first 1,000. And I swear, I said it last Wednesday, for a show that really almost just does only live videos, to have that kind of monumental thing there's only one or two other people that I know that have done that, and that's the Astro Imaging channel, who's been doing this for long time. But every Sunday night, the Astro Imaging channel, check that out because his format's awesome. He does it from his kitchen. It's great. But it's really, really cool. And he has a lot of good guest stars. So check them out too, because the Astro Imaging channel is a plethora of information on there. But they're the only ones that I know that do a consistent live show about astrophotography besides us. Yeah. So and I think I thought we just lost Pete for a second. He kind of spazzed out, froze. But so thank you everybody for the support. Appreciate everything. I guess we'll just we got 5 minutes to do like final thoughts for anybody.
Wow. No, this has been a great show. So I appreciate everybody joining. Keep it coming. Let's make sure that we can try to get this 1,000 for Dan for his birthday, man.
February 1st is my birthday, guys. Come on, we're really close. I think let's let's get an update real quick on how many we're at, if we've got any tonight. Let's see, we were at 32 at the beginning of the show. We have 31. We're at 969. So we have 31 left to break 1,000. Again, please, like Pete said, spread the word. We're trying to build something here, and we're almost there, and we're going to keep on building it. And it's just been a great ride. It really has. It's pretty awesome. So, Scott,
Yep, loving it. Loving
Scott,
it.
Scott's loving it like McDonald's.
Come down to Florida. We've got fabulous seeing and skies down here. So
What do you mean? It's going to get cold this weekend down there. You're going to be 32.
It is. As a matter of fact, yeah, it's gonna up here in Inverness. It's going to dip into the high 20s, mid to high 20s, which is unheard of.
How many?
That's unheard of.
Those poor manatees up there, I tell you.
Yeah, that's. I mean, getting into the 20s, mid to high 20s in this part of Florida is like -10 in New York.
Oh man, that's cold.
A couple of people have been asking for the Astro Imaging channel, and there you go. There's their link. So that's their website. They do good stuff too, and they stay out of our pond. So they're on Sunday nights. We're on Wednesday and Fridays. So but they're good people. They do a lot of good stuff. So check that out. They've been doing it every Sunday night for years and years and years. And
all I'm going to say is that please send your questions to the Discord. Believe me, we'll look at the questions. We'll answer the questions to the best of our ability. We're here to help. And as I said, it's just a real informal social get together, but we all have fun doing this. And hopefully our audience members learns by it as well. It's so good because we just reflect what you kind of give to us. So by all means, please just use this as a tool and just be part of the group.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that's for you, Frank. There you go.
Falling iguanas. Nice. All right, fellas. Well, it's been a great time. Thank you so much. And don't forget to get your raffle tickets for the Neptune camera. $5. A Finsta. You get a $300 camera for $5, and you go into the spinning Sean Nielsen Wheel of Fortune, and that's what we've been using for that. And don't forget the other. Somebody's asking for the Discord channel on the chat. I will put that up on really quick, and there's the Discord channel right there. That's coming up. But so you don't forget, on the 9th is our next guest. We got Dr. Sass from My Telescope. He's going to be showing us a whole bunch of stuff with his new thing. It's basically you can rent telescopes all over the world, from Chile, Portugal, the United States, Spain, Australia, a bunch of other places. So that's going to be a really, really interesting time. I can't wait to have him on board. So that's our next guest. That'll be on February 9th. And again, don't forget to subscribe. We got 31 people left. We could do this. We need like 7 people a day to do it.
Yeah.
We could do this. But again, guys, pleasure. And again, have a good night. And as always, everybody out there, please remember to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you Wednesday night. Have a good night, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Good show. Good show.
Great show, guys.
Yeah.
People are saying great show on the chat still.